This is WNBC TV Channel 4 in New York, and it is time now for the mid-morning news with Peter J. Wiggins, Wednesday, September 12th, 1962. Good morning, everybody. I'm Peter Wiggins, and here now are your news headlines on this Wednesday morning. Here, in a long statement, the Soviet Union warned yesterday that the United States attack on Cuba or upon Soviet ships bound for the island might set off a nuclear war. The official statement accused President Kennedy of preparing an act of aggression against China when he asked for the Congress for authority to order 150,000 reservists to active duty. The Soviet messages claimed any intention to turn Cuba into a military base and said arms being moved there were exclusively for defense. The Soviet note also indicated that the Soviet government was prepared to wait until after the American elections in November before resuming any talks in Berlin and Germany. In Washington, the administration seemed unimpressed by the Soviet note that the State Department partly labeled it obvious propaganda. An official said since the president said earlier this country was planned no invasion of Cuba, the warning was gratuitous. Earlier, a broadcast from Havana changed that a pirate vessel charge had entered a Cuban harbor and had fired on a British freighter carrying sugar and a Cuban ship loaded with molasses. More than 60 shots were pumped into the vessels, the broadcast said, and the Castro regime immediately blamed the criminals armed and paid by the United States. An anti-Castro group in Miami said the raid had been carried out by the refugees. The United States hopes to conclude nuclear testing in the atmosphere by mid-November, but in the absence of a test ban treaty, will continue underground testing indefinitely as the tests were originally scheduled to end in July. The Soviet Union announced the decision. A Russian representative to the United Nations Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space said these marches indeed strengthen the International Space Corporation. Dr. Robert Soblin, the convicted spy who fled the United States to avoid serving a life sentence to a Soviet espionage, died in a London hospital. A physician said death resulted from exhaustion following convulsions. Soblin never regained consciousness after taking an overdose of drugs. He was about to be deported. Earlier, he was slashed himself with an abdicated sovereign of Britain. Meanwhile, Soblin's brother, Jack Sobel, a confessed spy by the Soviet Union, was released from a federal prison, and Sobel was paroled for outstanding work in the prison office and the library. He was a key witness against his brother. The Senate voted by a vote of 54 to 60 to approve the nomination of Thurgood Marshall to a seat on the Second Circuit of the United States Court of Appeals. Only a small band of 7 Democrats registered their disapproval of the Negro attorney. Approval came 12 days less than a year after the presidential nomination. President Kennedy visited the nation's rocket centers and was assured that his promise would have been American on the moon by 1970 will be fulfilled. The assurance came from Dr. Werner von Braun, director of the Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama, and he was shown that the president model of the Saturn C5 rocket that will be used for the lunar shot. The Protestant clergy in Houston who debated religion with President Kennedy 2 years ago reported a change of feeling about the fears of the Roman Catholic and the White House. Many of them feared that a Catholic president might subvert the Constitution and give public aid to parochial schools. Now, however, even leaders of the most conservative denominations concede Mr. Kennedy has kept his pledge of absolute separation of church and state. Robert Momenfield's bid to capture the Democratic nomination for governor may be delayed by leadership fights in the Brooklyn and Queens and despite pressure from City Hall. For example, that the Brooklyn delegation may support City Council Abraham Beebe on the first ballot, rather than Mr. Momenfield. And Albany Governor Rockefeller told a news conference that a series of debates with his Democrat opponent could be useful if it was a real debate. The City Council approved Mayor Wagner's bill to establish a minimum wage of $1.25 an hour to private businesses in the district. The measure, which was passed 24 to 1, calls for an automatic increase of $12.50 after 1 year. On to the weather forecast for New York City and New Jersey, Long Island Sound, Rockland and Westchester counties, southeastern New York and eastern Pennsylvania and Connecticut. Sunny with low humidity today. Highest temperature in the mid-70s in the north to the mid-80s in the south. And highest temperature, humidity index 70 west and northwesterly winds by 10 to 50 miles an hour. And visibly on the sound 5 miles more. Clear cool tonight. Lowest temperature from the 40s inland to the 60s on the shore. And west and southwesterly winds by 10 miles an hour or less. And 5 miles a mile. Right now, our New York temperatures report to the 10 o'clock hour. 69 degrees on temperature right now in Central Park, 69 in LaGuardia, 72 in Donald, and 70 in Newark, New Jersey. And that's going to be the WNBC Mid-Morning News on this Wednesday morning, September 12th, 1962. I'm Peter J with you. I hope you have a good day. I will see you later on. Bye-bye, buddy.